As a fire investigator, my responsibilities are to determine the origin and then the cause of a lot of these fires. I was mentored by a lieutenant who was actually our first canine handler through State Farm. And I got to work with him on a lot of fire scenes, and I got to see, how proud he was and his passion of being a canine handler. We spent over 200 hours in training how to read that dog, how to work with that dog, how to keep our feet moving, how to hold the leash differently than what we would normally do with our pets. When I was first introduced to K9 Sowell as my partner, he had already been imprinted to the ignitable liquids. They are trained to go to source of wherever those ignitable liquids are in a fire scene. It all comes down to being able to read your dog and observe what your dog is doing. And that was some of the biggest things that we had taken away from the training program. No day is the same. Once the fire department can't determine the cause of the fire, or there may be something suspicious about the fire, then they will call a fire investigator to the scene to be able to conduct that origin and cause investigation. A lot of times where we don't smell the ignitable liquid, and the dog's noses are 50 times stronger than ours, that's why we depend on these canines a lot, because it may take us hours, days, or weeks to work through that fire scene. With the dog, they can do that within a couple minutes. Sowell is just like a family pet. So I get to take him home with me every day. He gets to go on vacations with us, with my family and I. He interacts with my family and I just as a family pet. But when it's time to work, he is focused on his job. So the main difference is that he has a job to do. And he gets to come to work with me every single day. Without State Farm, many of these agencies will not be able to have this resource. And State Farm is one of the major training programs and providers to jurisdictions for this tool that we have in our toolbox, our canines. We couldn't do this without State Farm, because this is a great tool for fire investigators. This significantly reduces the time that fire investigators are spending on the scene. Being a canine handler and feeling like you're on cloud nine, you have the best partner. I'd heard stories about it, but until you actually have that happen to believe it yourself, it's hard to believe until it happens to you.
All done. Good job, buddy. Good job. Good boy. Good boy.
That was awesome.